Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
And last week, Stoney gave us a little bit of a fun, homework surprise kind of situation. And as he was talking about it some more, I believe his vague description of it, I believe I've seen what you're talking about, but I definitely want to talk about it. And so here is Jason with what we're going to be talking about today in this episode.
There's something about a doorbell camera that feels harmless. A little glowing ring, a polite chime, a quick glance at who's outside. But in 2026, that tiny lens has become one of the most powerful and unsettling witnesses in modern life. Because sometimes it doesn't just capture packages. Sometimes captures people unraveling in real time. On April 7th in Fairfield, California, a Ring camera recorded what can only be described as a collision between reality and delusion. A man in a trench coat, flip-flops, and a graphic tee walks up to a stranger's home, looks directly into the camera, and declares himself a fictional wizard detective, Harry Dresden. Then it escalates. He demands entry. He asks, "Where's your daughter?" Threatens violence. He kicks the door, and when the door doesn't give, he finds another way in. This wasn't a movie scene. It wasn't scripted. It was real life. Captured in 4K, uploaded within hours, and consumed by millions. The man was later identified as a 30-year-old suspect facing multiple felony charges, burglary, assault, criminal threats, after breaking into the home and being confronted by the homeowner in a physical altercation. This isn't just one bizarre incident. It's part of a much bigger shift. Over 1.7 million police requests for Ring camera footage has been made globally in recent years. Amazon's Ring network now spans millions of households, effectively creating a decentralized surveillance grid. Viral crime footage spreads faster than official police reports, often shaping public perception before facts are confirmed. What used to be eyewitness testimony is now algorithm-driven reality. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. This wasn't just a crime. It looked like a psychological break playing out on a camera. The suspect wasn't hiding. He leaned into the lens, performed for it, and declared an identity that doesn't exist. And that raises a bigger question. Are we watching crime? Or are we watching untreated mental illness amplified by a world that records everything? Because the internet didn't respond with concern first. It responded with views. So in a world where every doorstep is a stage, the question isn't just who's at your door. It's whether what you're seeing is real or just the beginning of something for a stranger.
So like I had said at the intro of this episode, Stoney was really excited to talk to us about this situation.
I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah. And then as he was he described it kind of vaguely, obviously because he wanted to keep it a surprise. And he was like, I wanted to show you guys the video on the episode or have you guys do it for homework beforehand. But as he was talking about it, I was like, I think I have a friend group, obviously, that,
Right.
and we use Discord for a lot of our communications, and it got posted there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was like, can you believe this shit? Was a lot of
Will you be posting this episode on that same Discord channel then?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have a little tab that I usually will share the podcast episodes with there for all the different stuff.
What a nut job.
It was, for me, it was a little bit scary because I was like, the fact that, obviously, I don't know the greater story if the people knew each other beforehand, so I didn't know if it was like a restraining order situation or if it was a friend of the family or well, if it was a stranger, I feel like it's even worse.
You know what I'm telling you, when I saw this video, I have to tell y'all that something very similar happened to me.
Get out.
Yes.
Get out.
At my own house.
Do you have
a person coming to my door in the middle of the night?
No.
And doing some strange stuff. Yes.
That's scary.
So I know quite well how disconcerting this kind of event
can be. Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's probably happening a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a lot of people are just not
Did you have any kind of surveillance or camera?
Yeah, I have a ring doorbell
Okay, so
that showed up like at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And just she was out of her mind.
Oh,
you
my
could
gosh.
tell. I mean, I was like, just she'll go away. And
Yeah,
eventually my neighbor, because she went to my neighbor's house also and
Yeah.
did the same thing. And she was stumbling around. You could tell something was going on. But yeah.
Well, the funny thing about this video was at first, everyone thought it was a hoax.
Okay.
And the first day or two, this was a hoax, it was somebody doing a skit or something.
Well, because again, a lot of times on the internet, you
never
someone,
know.
someone would do something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone would definitely dress up and say they're a fictional character,
Right.
and be like, look at me being crazy on the doorbell.
Mm-hmm. But this he's already been to court.
Mm-hmm.
They found out that he already has some things against him with juveniles.
Oh gosh.
And now the big thing was that obviously they thought it was a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
Now we found out subsequently that it's not. But now there's another video of him in the courtroom. And you have to watch his mannerisms because he's smirking, he's smiling. And so and this is delusional. All of this is delusional, obviously. But now what's going through his head sitting in the courtroom? Smirking. Is he thinking he's going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Is he a wizard now that he's going to just magically disappear or something? I don't know very much about this Harry Dresden character.
I don't either. Yeah.
So I don't know what he's capable of, but this isn't his first some type of run-in with a juvenile young lady either.
Okay.
And then you have to look at the father in this video who's holding a big coal shovel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it don't have no blood on it.
Yeah.
Because
Something's
had he
wrong
made
here.
it into my house,
Yes.
that shovel would have been pounding him. I'd have been how far can I hit this head?
Yeah. The friends of mine that I was referring to, obviously, we live in the state of Louisiana and we're in the South. So there's a couple of good old boys in the chat, as you can imagine. And they're, law-abiding, gun-toting citizens. And so, as you can imagine.
As well as I am.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And so you can imagine that, like, a lot of times in this area, Louisiana, Texas, in the South, a lot of times people will say, if someone was to break into my house, I pray that they meet whatever Lord that they serve, because it's gonna happen. You're gonna get blown away, and again the jokes that they were making was only in California. Whenever they learned that it was in California, like only in California would someone be able to break into my house and still be alive to tell the tale.
Miranda, baby, what would you do? And I says, well, baby, you don't understand. There's two ways to connect with God. And prayer is absolutely the best way.
Yes.
But kicking in my door is the faster way.
Right. Yeah.
It's that simple. I'm going to get you there. You're going to go quick. And
I can tell that this would be a very disconcerting situation, because my understanding was just the mother and the daughter was at home.
That's
the father was
terrifying.
not at home at the time. And so I can only imagine that how bad that would be.
Yeah.
How bad that would be for, this strange person banging on the banging
making
on
demands
the door,
and
making
shouting,
demands and talking about. She probably don't know who Harry Dresden is.
in California, where it's illegal to shoot somebody breaking into your house.
And just for our listeners out there, anybody that didn't know who Harry Dresden, and he's a fictional character created by the author, I believe is Jim Butcher. Is his name.
I had never even heard of the character or the series of books. It's
right.
kind of out of my scope of things.
There was a show. There was a show on the Sci-Fi Channel. I really think it was back in the 90s.
Okay.
That you could still pull up and probably watch them. But
This person
I used to watch it back then, so I'm familiar with Harry Dresden.
This person-
Was it a good show?
It was. It was a
Okay.
good series. It
was a good
lasted, I don't know how many seasons, a few, and then it faded out. But I mean, it was competing against a lot of the favorites at the time,
Oh, I
like
can
Farscape and stuff
Yeah,
like
Oh,
that.
that's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
In the
would've been tough.
90s, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of
yeah.
good stuff coming out on
Yeah.
Sci-Fi, so it was a very good show. I remember watching it.
Well, this person's real name is Jason Nichols. Is the
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
he's going by this other alter ego or this fictional character, but his real identity is something different. But
Yeah,
again, I had the very same questions asked to me and the friend group of like, what would you do in a situation like this?
What would you do? In a
And for me, I
situation
think
like
I
this?
still stand by. I think what I had talked about whenever I said off the record with you guys last week was like, if I was home, I would still keep my door locked and not engage with the person at all, and of course call the police first and foremost. Let's get.
I think he got in through a sliding glass
and-
door.
and
Let's
what I'm-
say he kicked the door in.
And that's
Now what do you do?
Yeah. So I'm saying is like I think I would still. The second something like suspicious like that is happening, I would call the police first. I would try and get law enforcement out here and say there's someone trying to break into my house. So there's at least record that like if things escalate to where they're going to be going, I can at least cover my tracks a little bit to like I defended myself from a perpetrator breaking into my house.
Sure.
And with her being at home by herself with a small
Yes.
child, I even as a place like California with the the kind of the politics with guns and that
Yes.
kind of stuff, I think she would sit very well if she ended up having to kill that, because that can
Yeah.
easily be articulated to defend herself.
Right.
Even it would be a little harder for a man. Not to say that he's not justified. I'm just saying the reality
you have to
is.
understand is, okay, he has in California and in countries like Canada, but namely in California,
Right.
okay, the victim now becomes, okay, the
victim
perpetrator.
becomes the perpetrator. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. The
And now,
aggressor.
because he's Harry Dresden, oh, you shot that poor mentally handicapped person. You're such a mean person. How could you do that? I'm sorry.
Again, that's where like the circumstances may be. If it was like, that's where we're getting like some really interesting areas. Like
But
I feel
that's
like
what we do
You're right.
on
You're
the
right. You're right.
Retrospect podcast.
Like I said, like let's say hypothetically this was happening outside of my home. I think I would be a little bit more gracious. Like unless the person was carrying a weapon, then I would defend myself as needed. Where I may try and but like if it's happening in my home, and especially I don't have a wife and child, but if I had a wife and child in the home, then it's like, and especially if this person is commanding me to hand over my daughter to him, and if I don't know who he is, absolutely not going to happen. And that's where like so I don't know.
Just kind of really touches into the mental illness of what's been going on in the country. And so basically 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience some form of mental illness each year, and about 50% of that population receives no treatment at all. So
Well, you have to understand over so many years that they've closed down, and I looked this up, 96% of the mental health institutions across America.
in the early 80s, they defunded all that.
They completely knocked it out. Now, how many people, okay, start off not in a jail type situation, doing things that don't really need necessarily to go to jail,
Right.
but because they aren't getting the help that they need, and now you have all of these other things, all of the chemicals in our bodies and all the social media and everything else, people aren't getting the help they need. How easy does it turn into something like this?
Yeah.
Because this guy obviously has some diagnosed things that need to be diagnosed of him, but because we don't have the facilities for that anymore,
Right.
he kind of slides through the cracks until somebody either gets hurt or something like this. And then whose fault is that?
Yeah. And they said right now they've about 14 to 15 million adults, which about 5 to 6% basically have severe, what they would call serious, like conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and severe major depression. And out of that group, 30 to 40% receive no treatment in a given year. So that's about 46 million people with serious conditions that are just wandering around throughout the United States. I can only imagine. I don't know what it is in other countries.
But where are the police? Okay. He's made violent threats in this situation. He was focused on a child. Okay. That's the biggest ding, 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 ding to me. He's focused on a child. He forced entry into an occupied home. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he even persisted in these beliefs when he was challenged. Okay. There was an additional child-related charge from a separate event 2 days before.
Really?
2 days.
That's crazy.
2 days. So he goes into police custody or questioning by the police, and guess what? 2 days later, he's doing something else.
Yeah.
And this, like Ian said so wonderfully, only in California.
Well,
Because this is to me 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He's had an incident with the child and the police,
right.
and he's doing something else violently 2 days later.
Yeah.
At minimum, he should have been in a 72 hour to 7 day
Psych ward.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I know it was just a, I mean, I don't know. Defacing property, destroying property. And
I know a lot of people criticize the Reagan years for the closing down the middle. I actually watched a podcast regarding what happened to our mental health industry in this country, and it's really a long history of where we're at today. And unfortunately, a lot of, as I said, Reagan really caught a lot of blame for that. But the reality is, Reagan eventually just put the nail in the coffin. There was major problems with the with how that was done. Back in the or in the early times, I mean, they can just simply grab you and take you.
Well, in the 40s or 50s, a man could just say, "My wife needs to go," and she's gone, she had no choice in that.
Right,
and there was abuses in that. Okay, there was abuses, but that doesn't mean you bring in some regulation, you fix some situations, but they just completely 96%.
Yeah,
it was gone.
Right. It's just unfortunately it just was not really well funded. Even back in the 60s, it wasn't really well funded. And eventually what they wanted to do was to kind of do away with the model that had been in place back in the 20s, 30s, you see pictures of how, people have been lobotomized for all intents and purposes, until eventually they want to replace them with community centers.
Right.
Yeah.
And that just didn't plan. It just didn't work out. And I said, by the time you get to, Reagan getting elected, he basically just said, there's just no point in keeping up with this stuff, and it's just not working. So they just pushed it off to the states, and whether the states could afford them, they did them, or they didn't. And you know how that goes.
Right.
States can't print money.
Well,
they have to balance their
that's
budget.
Right. What we haven't heard yet is other records that he's had, toxicology, medical workups, collateral history. I want to know what's going on with this guy, because now, were there any other prior episodes? We know there was one 2 days before.
Correct.
Has there been any before that? Right. I mean, if he's doing something every 2 days,
I'm
that
sure
tells us something. So we need to find, come on, guys, let's give us some information.
I'm sure the guy had problems.
What's his sleep and substance abuse history? Is this guy on drugs? Is he doing things? Is it just he needs a complete mental status exam right now.
Yeah.
They're worried, we got to send it. No. Put his ass in a mental institution and have some real work done on him.
Yeah.
Because this guy, and that's one of the things they show about serial killers and serial rapists, they start progressing, and sometimes it starts happening more frequently and et cetera, but we don't know with this guy. What is his thing?
Yeah.
And that, to me, those questions are what's driving me crazy about this, because when you look at young people today, this screaming and hollering is all over the news, not only social media, but the news. What are the delusions of people thinking they're grandiose and better than that? And Now this guy added Harry Dresden.
Dresden, yeah.
Is that the first name? Dresden,
Yeah.
whatever.
Harry Dresden. Yep.
He's added this delusion to it, but he's acting just like so many videos that you see of these young people, screaming and hollering. How far away are they from this delusional behavior? You see these kids kicking cops, kicking people, throwing stuff in restaurants. This behavior is kind of normal with young people today. And this is a generational show, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody.
No,
But the old people, we got our things too,
Yeah.
But still, this behavior is becoming paramount in the world, but necessarily America too.
Yeah. What do we know? How the guy knew? Did the guy?
Don't know.
Jason knew the family at all?
We don't think so.
Okay.
We don't know yet. But what I'm thinking is part of his delusion. Did he live down the road? See, they're not telling you that. What if in his delusion he thought he was Harry Dresden and this girl needed saving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, again,
also
his mental.
Right. The thing that made me feel like there was some sort of, what do they call it in law enforcement? Premeditated is because the guy did have a daughter, and so I didn't know if that was just like a lucky guess or is there some sort of relation?
Well,
there
in the video, if you're looking,
where's
your daughter?
I know, yeah.
It was very specific.
Right, and that's what I was saying. It felt targeted.
So he knew the guy had a daughter.
Right.
He-
Or like I said,
he could have been just following, and he
Yeah.
could have seen it and established a fixation.
You're right.
I mean, it's well known that there are certain mental illnesses that they fixate on a certain thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's a person or whatever the case may be, and it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He could have had a delusional disorder with some type of a rescue-based theme in his head. I mean, we don't know where this guy is. I mean, that's not a great possibility, but it falls into the spectrum of some of the things that it could be. I'm leaning more toward a substance-induced psychotic, situation, disorder or something, but we don't know until we get that toxicology report back. Was he drinking? Was he doing, how many, what did they say, since they have started recording school shootings, every shooting, the kid has been on some type of
antidepressant.
Was this guy on it? He's of the age.
Yeah.
He fits right into it.
How old was he?
30 something. Yeah,
30,
30,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, that's what it says right here. Yeah.
So, I mean,
you're right. And that's crazy to think about for me. It's like I'm thinking about someone like myself doing that. It's hard to believe. But at the same time, when I think about it, like you said before, if we're dealing with someone who has a skewed perception on reality, or as Stoney has said, substance situations could also
be in there. I'm not,
I
can't diagnose him,
you're
but I'm
right,
just saying,
right.
Through my head, I start, being in protective services for 20 years, these things come in here.
Right.
And so you start having
you don't want to rule
wonder.
anything out.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to look at it all. And then, like with this guy, sitting in the courtroom smirking, is he a narcissist? Do you add that? There's 9 traits to narcissism, and you have to have 5 of them to be declared or diagnosed with narcissism.
Right.
You're sitting in a courtroom where you just broke into somebody's house asking about their daughter, their underage daughter.
Yes. 2 days after another.
Thank you for adding that there.
Yeah.
And you're smirking.
Yeah.
What you thinking? You gonna get out of this, or you're above the law, or what?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I mean,
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Be very curious what people capture on their Ring cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the police have said they've tried to start this thing where the police can sign on to your Ring cameras when they're looking for people driving. There's a whole website that you can join that allows the police and people to use your Ring camera. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can give access to law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if it solves a crime or it helps in identifying a suspect, but there's a lot of people who are concerned about the rise of Ring cameras and basically the
everyone's talking about
surveillance network now.
Who's the author?
But you see, here's the funny thing
Orwell?
about it. We're in
George
Louisiana,
Orwell.
1984.
where our wonderful governor is trying to pass a law after they've already passed 3 laws that make it, number one, harder to prosecute and investigate politicians. They've already passed a law that they're making it easier for the government to do business with family members. And now Louisiana is one of the few states that only one person needs to know that a recording is happening. And now they're trying to pass a law that says you cannot record someone else without their permission, or at least letting them know that you're recording, because they're making it harder for whistleblowers in Louisiana now to record corruption.
Interesting.
But, please sign on to the Ring camera thing so we can see what's going on.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's there.
That's another topic I'd like to get into, some of the laws that they're passing in Louisiana where we're supposed to be more transparent, where they're shutting down the transparency for our politicians.
I know in the past we've read a book or two, I think, for a show, and I just jokingly talked about George Orwell's 1984. I've never actually read it in its entirety. I've read I think like the first quarter or half of it, I think, once upon a time, because I was borrowing it from a friend. And I'm not saying we should, but maybe, if we could probably read it for the show, and because I think that'd be fun. I think it plays into a lot of stuff.
That might be kind of interesting.
So maybe, it's an option.
George Orwell. That brings back a lot of memories there. 1980. A lot of people would say that we're heading in that direction. And I would venture to say it's inevitable that we will become a surveillance state.
We're already there. Don't even say it's inevitable. We're there.
I think just of how certain people that really kind of blow the whistle on this stuff, how they're treated. I mean, just look at Snowden. You look at Assange. Just terrible. I mean, we're heading in that direction.
Well, you have to think about this. China, which was at one time the largest manufacturer of iPhones, their leaders and their military officers were not allowed to own an iPhone.
Right.
Okay. Now, Europe has just passed a law. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but Europe as a group has passed a law that says that all new cell phones must now have a removable battery.
Interesting.
They're calling it for this environment. But the reason that they did it to where you can't take the battery out of your phone is because it never actually goes off. You may think you turn your phone off. It's still running and listening in the background. If it's off and you're driving somewhere, it still knows where you are. But Europe has said collectively, you have to be able to produce a phone that I can take the battery out of it and, number one, replace it. So they're ending the planned obsolescence. Remember the little fiasco with Apple doing their little battery tick on an update to where the battery all of a sudden loses 60% of its life magically. And so, but Europe is waking up to this state of, everybody's watching.
So the European Union.
Yes, the European Union
passed a resolution or something.
Which I think is interesting. I mean, this is like in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about the Orwell state and things like that, we're there.
Yeah.
We are literally there.
Yeah, that might be a good episode. Are we a surveillance state?
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah.
That might be a good episode to talk about because there's a lot of things.
Let us know.
Yeah, that might be a good one for all our fans out there. That if you'd like if you would like us to talk about that, we can definitely put a show together for that.
I agree.
So, I know I've reached out to a friend of our show.
Okay.
He used to be on the show a few times.
Okay.
I saw an article that he pushed out from his Substack
Oh, I know you're talking about it now.
Yeah, regarding the mRNA and MK Ultra.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, look at this.
Okay.
So I just texted him to see if he would be interested in possibly coming on and talking about some of the latest stuff, because it's been a while since we've had him.
Correct.
But did y'all? It shows that his bail. Talking about this guy.
Yeah.
His bail was set at $35,000.
That's it.
Yeah.
See,
so
I think it ought to be automatic 10 million if a child is involved.
Yeah.
Period.
Well,
He asked for the child. Bingo, child's involved, $10 million. Carry your ass to jail and put him in a place where the prisoners are going to say, you did what to a child? You wanted to do what to a child? There was a time in Angola, here in Louisiana, that basically if you were a child molester, when you went into the prison, they basically gave you 30 days to conduct your business. Say goodbye to your mom, say goodbye to whatever you needed to, because you was going to die.
Really?
Because their thought process was, we're not going to let you out to harm another child because it could be my daughter next time.
I see.
Now, they've kind of had to do some things where
Yeah.
it's a little harder to do that now, but back in the day,
Yeah.
you wasn't going to be a child.
I mean, what was the gentleman that was basically accused of raping his daughter and having a stepdaughter, I think, or something like that. But what's his name? He used to be on the Sons of Guns.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, I had a friend of mine that worked that he just retired from Angola, and he told me about him because he'd see him every day. And, last time I chatted with him, he said he's pretty institutionalized.
Already?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. He said he doesn't say anything. He just kind of sits in his deal. So, yeah. But, but this says jail records show bail was set at $35,000 in the initial case with a court appearance scheduled for April 13th. A separate April 13th booking list bail at $25,000 with a court date set for April 14th, according to jail records. So, This guy may have already gone to court and had something.
Yeah, but you only got to put 10% down. If it's $35,000, you got to come up with $3,500 at a bail bondsman to get out.
Right.
And some type of collateral for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. We talked about California and some of their thoughts on guns and stuff, but I think it's really interesting to kind of look at some of the castle laws and castle policies through the states. And Louisiana is one of the most, what's the word I want to use? If you were in a place that you can legally occupy, it used to be they had to be in your home. So basically the joke was, if you guys shoot somebody, make sure you drag them in the house so you can say you shot them in the house. Well, now the castle doctrine basically is, if you are in a place that you legally can be, you cannot be forced out of that situation. And if you believe that your life is in danger, you can stand your ground. That's where stand your ground comes from. Right. You can stand your ground and
protect yourself.
But you have to believe you're in danger.
Yeah.
Well, there was plenty of evidence of that from the video.
That's what I was saying. I was like, it gets to a point where he, like I said, I know it's probably not much, but ripping that bell off of the door and kicking the door and stuff.
Well, did he say, I will end you?
Yeah. Some threats and
yeah.
stuff. Like I said, at that point, it's just, it gets to a point where, and that's kind of why I said the caveat of if I'm out in public and I have reason to believe he's unarmed, again, I think again, it's easy to hyperbolize here whenever, I'm in the safety of the studio, but obviously I feel like I would protect myself if I was being attacked in any capacity. But obviously I think there's a level of if you're being that aggressive trying to get into my house and you then successfully get into my house, I am going to protect myself by any means necessary.
Right.
Especially if you're destroying my property in the process. That's just
they said he said there was it's like you said, there was another encounter. He said it was also involving a child before this one.
Said it was a different child. Different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2 days
before.
But
it wasn't the same person.
Yeah, they say a witness later came forward reporting an encounter between the suspect and a child days before the break-in. I'm very curious
Yeah.
what that was all about. He says determined there was probable cause for an additional arrest on child-related charge.
But what? So was the police involved in that earlier?
Yeah, they
situation
said
though?
authorities said no further details will be released due to the involvement of a minor. So who knows what happened?
Yeah. I wonder why we're not getting info about him, or not getting info about like more, like why?
Well, because that's the way, especially California does that. They want to turn the victim into the criminal. And if we had all the necessary stuff of what his past was, it would be harder to convince everybody had he been shot coming in, or the guy would have thumped him with the shovel. It's too hard to, then it becomes harder to make the victim the criminal.
I mean,
and that's what happens in those states.
I mean, what that guy was saying about, let me in or I'm going to, effing end you. I think that's,
But even in California, that's still, and think about that. You shoot him and you don't kill him, then he sues you for civil damages. I mean, or if you do kill him, now his family sues you for civil damages.
I'm gonna countersue you for emotional damage.
I'm like,
emotional distress on my wife and child.
Way too many things that they
it's crazy.
That's why people, I'm telling you, it's just we have made it now where we just really can't fix problems anymore.
Yeah,
we really can't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made things so difficult that we just cannot fix problems anymore. So people just throw up their hands, and
that's so unfortunate.
They just build on. People just retreat further and further in isolation and fear and everything else. I can't go here. I can't go there.
But
I don't know what crazy people.
Is that part of what they want with the 15-minute cities? We're not going to venture out anymore. We're going to stay in our homes. We're going to do this. We're going to work from home, or we're going to work, 3 blocks away from where we live. Is that what is this intentional?
I don't know. I've thought about that. I don't know if it's necessarily intentional, not in the way I think you're saying it. Like there's some mastermind sitting behind a desk going, I'm controlling the world.
I don't think it's one mastermind, but George Soros is part of it. The Microsoft Ding Dong is part of it.
I would venture to say I would think the Five Eyes are probably heavily involved in this, but I think it's a confluence of events that you manipulate enough of the system, so to speak, that it just inevitably kind of moves in that direction. See what I'm saying? It's not that there's, okay, I'm going to do this. I think we manipulate this. I think they're projecting that, okay, if this goes this way.
But hey, look, this worked out really good. Let's try that. But what if we change it a little bit here? Let's see what happens. Oh, that worked. Well, that didn't work as good as we thought. Let's try this. And I think they're pushing it. I think some people or groups are working together, and it's somewhat intentional, because that's what they use is fear. We're going to give up our rights because we're scared. We're going to give up all of our things because we live in fear. I don't want to go out. I don't want to drive. I don't want to do this.
I think that's already happened. I think
that's what I'm talking about.
I think people are right now terrified of going to public places now. That's why the rise of Amazon and places like that. Everybody don't want to go out anymore because they're scared to death. It's like, today, tragically, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at a nice mall, there was an altercation between, looks like 2 rival gangs, and 10 people have been injured. I think one was killed, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And, this is just terrible. I mean, was that earlier in the week or last week? There was another tragedy with a gentleman up in, I believe, Shreveport, Louisiana, that made national news. Like Louisiana needs any more, attention on them. But yes, I'm saying I think these events just contribute to this overall sense of, I can't leave my house. And unfortunately, if you succumb to that, then I think you're succumbing and you're going down the path where I think these people that Stoney talk about want you to go. And it's like I tell people, so you cannot live in fear. I say you're never going to stop crazy people, violent, any of that stuff, because it's just the way it is. I mean, there's not enough tax dollars to basically make you 100% safe. You're not even 100% safe in your own home.
Right.
You really
it's
aren't.
Coming down to, I almost feel like we're going back to the Wild West times.
I don't even think the Wild West was as bad as.
But in some places it was, in some places it wasn't. I agree with you there, but it feels like that kind of a mentality with 10 times as many people, and it's when you get this bottled up,
right,
and you have so many things happening and stress, and the food that we're being fed, you have to wonder when that bottle is going to pop. And it's popping, like this little incident here, with the gang-related stuff from kids weren't even in. They were from 100 miles. How many miles away? 60-something miles away.
Yeah, we don't really, we don't know exactly. I think they did make an arrest in an adjacent parish, which would be a county for those outside Louisiana. That there may be some connection there, but. That's what I'm saying. I think inevitably, and I think some of these dollars where people buying Ring doorbells and buying cameras and all. I mean, I'm looking at some of these numbers here. The smart doorbell market hit $18.9 billion in 2024, and it's projected to go to $90 billion by 2034. Wow! So you're going to have more and more houses equipped with cameras and everything else, and so. I said right now, Ring alone controls roughly 39% of the global market.
Really?
Yes. They're huge. So that's a lot of people with a lot of cameras.
Yeah.
That, Ring got themselves, I believe, in trouble regarding people having access to some of this footage.
Right.
And I think there was some lawsuit or something to that effect. But yeah. But here it is. This is what happens. This is how this stuff sneaks up. 78% of users cite convenience as the main reason for for these type of products. Yeah. And that's how everything is packaged. It's convenient. It makes it easy, but there's always a catch, and there's always a consequence for it. And, I think we are building the future that I think everybody talks about.
Yeah.
I really do.
Like you said, there's pros and cons to everything. The pros to the Ring camera is all of the videos that you see of the booby trap Amazon packages when they start running to their car and it blows up with paint and glitter. That's one of the pros of it. I can watch those videos all day long of some stupid person going to steal a package and boom, gets hit with the paint and the glitter. So there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of people right now. Ring is partnered with thousands of police agencies, and of course, there's a lot of people raising civil liberty concerns right now about. Now the police can just tap in and can basically surveil the whole neighborhood. I mean, you get enough people with Ring doorbells. I mean,
it's cheaper to borrow your Ring than it is to put the cameras up on the telephone
exactly.
pole.
We'll just let the population do it for us.
That's right.
And trust me, people will.
And that's how you lose your freedoms. Because you're scared. Well, I'm going to give my freedom of privacy up so you can check and see what car drove out of the neighborhood at 2:00 in the morning.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but they can watch it anytime they want to, can't they?
Well, as I said, it comes down to just how easy you make it.
You want my video? You're welcome to it when you bring that warrant.
Right.
I got nothing to hide, but we're going to do it legal-like.
Right, unless you voluntarily say, if my Ring footage can help solve or identify a criminal that's
time you want 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after that time, I'll be glad to download that and give it to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No problem.
I think it's
you want all of it, bring you a warrant.
I think it's it's like it's it's good and bad, and we'll see how all that plays out as time goes on. But yes, I do think that in this particular case with this particular gentleman, I think it's just pretty brazen, and I think I had a like I mentioned earlier, and I had an event happen in my house. It's nothing like what this guy did, but still some strange person hitting the doorbell at the wee hours of the morning, obviously disoriented. She looked like she probably had some mental issues going on,
Yeah.
but I mean, they got a ton of these people walking around.
But there's a scam going around that's been going around for a couple of years where a woman will come saying she needs help, and as soon as you open that door, her 3 friends come around the corner.
Exactly.
And
so it's
so you have to be careful.
I don't mean to change the subject. My brother is a paramedic and is obviously a guy on the inside. And the situation that happened in Baton Rouge,
yes,
a second person has died.
Well, they say 2 were critical when they hauled them off. So
I think that one person had, in the moment, and then I think that I just got word from him that the hospital couldn't save the other person. So one of the people
you
in
never
critical
know.
condition.
I mean, wherever he got shot at, it's.
But
Sometimes
like
it's it's pretty traumatic, and it's very rare that you can kind of pull out of that. But I know the first one died was 17, so I'll be very curious with the age of this person. So I'm sure we'll be getting a news alert.
Oh yeah,
regarding this
is all happening in real time for us.
Yeah, this is all happening in real time as we're recording this. It's a tragedy, and I really fear for the businesses there because I mean that it's already right now. I mean, I've heard the comments about people, not wanting to go to the mall because of this or that or everything else, and now this happens. It's like, oh gee, So I don't know what the answer is with between crazy people doing crazy things and just people doing stupid things. And not thinking.
You see, but you said you had the incident. Miranda and I are living that in our life right now because, people can't get the help that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go out and blast anybody right now, but I'm living this too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just inside my own home. And it's sad because people need help and we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that fundamentally goes back to how much tax dollars do you want going to different things? And I think fundamentally that goes to the argument of how much money we spend on this versus this.
I think we need to control the money instead of $220 billion being lost in California for some bullshit. And how many billions of dollars in Minnesota, how many billions of dollars in Louisiana, because they're finding with their own sort of Doge stuff that there's some money being misappropriated in Louisiana. But you know what? Let's just appropriate to the right places. There's money out there. But instead of putting it into our politicians' hands, where I think 3 politicians got arrested today for insider trading.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. How about instead of putting it in their hands, how about we put it where the people are that really need the help?
Yeah.
See, that's one kind of, everybody thinks I'm kind of hardline on everything, and that's not true.
Right.
I'm a fiscal conservative with liberal tendencies. There's people out there who need help.
Yes.
You just need to tell me how we're going to pay for it.
Right.
I've got no problem helping people that need help. But if you want to be a career handout type person, I got nothing for you. But if you really need help, and right now with everything with our food and social media and everything, there's some people out there with some real mental issues who need help. And we need to figure out what we're going to do about it.
Right.
First off, Robert Kennedy Jr. needs to do something with the FDA and get these chemicals out of our food.
Yeah.
That needs to happen yesterday, because that's part of what's happening here. We've proven with Brandon, who's been on the show before, and a couple of episodes that we talk about, what is this food and chemicals that we're putting doing to our bodies?
Right.
There's no telling what this young man, he's young to me, has gone through trauma-wise, and then all of this. I'm not going to make him to be the victim in this.
Right.
But good Lord.
Right.
You know, and obviously he's been in trouble with the police before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you involve a child, you need to go away for a year somewhere.
Right.
So that they can diagnose why you're messing around with a child.
Yes.
So that you can't turn around 2 days later and do it again.
Precisely.
What happens if he would have gotten that child
yes.
before the father got to the house?
Yeah. And my thing is like, this is why I want more clarification that we don't have on
Yes.
the situation that happened the 2 days prior to the event that we're talking about today. Why was the police called? What did the police do in that moment? Did they was like, you know what I'm saying? Like what was it just was it just verbal? Was it just like a threat? Like, or was there something like where, like, was it negligence on the police kind of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is where my mind's starting to run.
It's California.
Or, I know what I'm saying. There's like, if there was like a touching of a child situation and the police are like, shame on you.
A wise young person once said, only in California.
Okay.
Only in
Right.
California.
But that's what I'm saying is like at that point, like, again, if it's just some sort of like, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like, why, if there was a child involved, was he not already like in some sort of jail or like holding facility before it got escalated to the thing that we're talking about today? That's all I'm saying. But like I said, we don't have clarification on it, so I don't know.
Because they don't want us to have that, because they want to turn the victim into a criminal and the criminal into a victim. And they can't do that if we have all the good, juicy details or the tea, as Miranda likes to say.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do if the guy is certifiable.
But think about this. They put a $35,000 bail on him. So it's $3,500 and he's out.
So that tells me right there that they really don't care.
They don't care.
And the system is so overburdened. This is what I'm saying is what has happened to the kind of the minutia, the infrastructure that's designed, that we've built over time to be able to deal with these issues, can't keep up with what the realistic numbers that are being funneled into it can handle. It was never designed for that. And so that's what you have is you've got $35,000 bonds on this because there's probably no room in the dang jail.
Yep.
There's no place to put them. And they probably right now are basically they're trying to do away with jails.
That's crazy.
I mean, in California, they're trying to do away with jails. So, I mean, it's just...
Well, again, it comes down to the community centers. You know, let's help people. Let's... No. We need to help them, but good Lord. You know, what's the breaking point?
We've lost... I've said this with just a whole host of issues regarding just crime. We have lost the political will in the United States to basically solve problems. We can't do it anymore. There's so much hand wringing. We can't do this. We got this. We got that. Oh, we can't do because no one really wants to basically be mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not being mean. It's being smart and taking care of people. What we've done is if we turned into a bunch of cowards who are only involved in wanting money. And, we got all the money we need. It just goes to the wrong places. It doesn't go to our roads. It doesn't go to the people who truly need help. It doesn't go to these mental issues. But there seems to be plenty of money around to go for a $225 billion high-speed rail line in California that never got the first line of track done.
That money went away.
If you give us another $150 billion for it, we'll start building it.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of money. We're not putting it in the right places. How about we put it into the right places? Put it into our people. Put it into our roads. 85% of the bridges in America should be declared what is it declared? Whatever, dilapidated, whatever
Unfit,
it is,
whatever the term they use.
There's some term. 85% of the bridges in America, really, but yet we are going to protect the people in Minnesota, and
that's what I'm saying. I mean, the whole Nick. We talked about Nick Shirley, what he did in Minnesota. He went to California. They're right now. they got a law that passed there. I believe
Yes.
their
You saw
California
that?
House Assemblies to stop Nick Shirley Act.
Yes, the Stop Nick Shirley Act.
I mean, it's like, now I will give him credit because the number of hospice care centers have closed dramatically because they were all basically
but think about
money
this.
fronts.
What did he do? He went in there with a hidden camera.
Right.
Okay, so what does our governor and our politicians do? They're trying to pass a law, if they haven't already, that says you can't do that in Louisiana. So it's their own form of the anti-Nick Shirley law, but our governor is trying to get that passed to where you must announce, or both parties. Really?
Yeah.
So we're just going to stop people, and we're going to kill the transparency, and we're going to make it easy for our politicians in our own state
I don't
to
know
commit
how
crime.
that's going to be. I don't know how that's going to be possible.
They
That's not gonna-
they basically just based upon just giving fraud that's happening right now. Just kind of FYI, I kind of do a little search of how that impacts us. It's about 5,000 to 8,000 per household
really.
to just make up for the fraud that's going on for every person,
Wow.
per household. That is what it's about. So in essence, you have to work, I think, an extra 4 to 5.5 full weeks
just to pay for
just
the fraud.
to pay for the fraud.
Wow.
So that's what you're right now having to work
Yeah.
to pay for the increase in prices and everything that goes along with companies
Well,
having
that
to
means you're
basically-
paying about 5 months just for our debt.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a terrible situation right now, and as I said, as long as we can print money, there's really no incentive to actually be fiscally
Responsible.
conservative,
Yeah.
responsible,
Yeah.
because there's just not enough money to do with what they all want to do.
Yeah.
There is enough money. You got to put it in the right places, and you got to
But
stop
that
the
means
fraud.
that means
There
you can't.
is enough
That means
money.
you can't do the things they want to do.
Yeah.
Which is do their ventures
yeah.
to go do all this other stuff. So
Let's go fight in Iran again. let's go. I don't mean to bring that all up, but like, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, so-
that's a whole different.
I know,
that's
I
a whole
know.
different boat, and that's just
Yeah.
one thing. But just our own fraud here in
Yes.
the good old USA is just through the roof. I mean, I think it's approaching $1 trillion. It's
Really?
fraud, yeah.
Golly.
So you can just imagine how much money is just.
Well, think about it.
Just like-
California's got $225 billion in fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
a quarter away there.
There you go.
I mean, just think
Quarter of the way, right there.
Think of all the scandals that have happened over the years. I mean, y'all remember Enron?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that disaster, the .com bust.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? WorldCom. That was
And speaking of, this is another topic for another day. But there's a lot of talks right now that the AI bubble is getting to a point where like a lot of investors, a lot of people, a lot of companies expected this infinitely scalable growth, and now we're hitting a ceiling where like the AI is getting good, but not at the rate that they're expecting it to. And
they've got to promise it.
yeah,
I think to get people to buy into it,
Yes.
to pump money into it,
and
to deliver it and
Yes.
put it into systems.
yes.
And then it's going to collapse because at that point, now it's in there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's already there.
The technology's already here, and I don't
It's
think it's going to
already
go
there.
away. But
Right.
I think the problem is we're hitting that point now where like I think people have been investing into it because it was scaling at the rate that they were expecting. But now we're at a point now where it's not quite. It's not infinite. We're hitting a ceiling, and all I'm saying is like you talked about the .com bubble and other things like that. I wouldn't be surprised that if like in a very short time that like
There's an AI dot bubble
We're
type
gonna have
deal.
a financial crisis where like a lot of things are gonna. Anyways, I'm just speculating, but I've heard from people that are in the area are talking about it being like, we've seen this happen a handful of years ago, and things like that. So, but anyways, you're right. There's always something else.
Oh yeah, I mean we are. It's got a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our topic today was, in essence, it was a crazy person, and
One of many.
and he just is one of these people that, like I mentioned in the statistics earlier, probably has never gotten any treatment, and they're just wandering around the streets.
Yep.
And
What I think for me, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this to your attention was the fact of, we're talking about AI, we're talking about all this, that at first everyone thought this was a hoax,
Right.
that it wasn't real. And then very quickly, how real it was.
it became real.
It became very real. But we're in a state in the world where you saw that and you went, oh, somebody's using AI again. Look what
Right.
somebody did.
Yep.
Because a real person wouldn't have a long trench coat and flip-flops. That must be AI.
Right.
And I want to know, did Harry Dresden wear a long trench coat and flip-flops in the show?
I believe
Trench coat, yes. Flip flops, no.
I'm not
I'm
sure
just
about-
curious.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
just
it's been a
how
while.
invested was this guy in the
You're right.
character? Is what I
It's been a
wanna know.
while since I've saw anything with Harry Dresden.
I think I saw an image because I looked up who this character was upon hearing about the story, and I think he has like a wide brimmed hat, a
It
trench
does.
coat. I think
Yeah.
he's like a torch or something. So like he's like a very he's an interesting looking character, but I don't think this
No flip-flops.
I don't think it was his name was Jason. Is that right? Or yeah, I don't think this perpetrator Jason, not our Jason, was the. I don't think he committed fully to the character, so he could have done better
In his head, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
Wow.
for anybody out there who wants to let us know what you think about this, we have comment sections on Spotify and on YouTube where you can send us the short form responses, and our email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can send some longer form responses if you want to. Let us know if you want to hear us talk about 1984, because I'm interested. I want to know if people want to listen to that, because I want to read that book in its entirety, especially now we've been talking about surveillance state stuff. So, but anyways, thank you so much for listening, and until next week, bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
Here is the policy failure in one sentence. In America, a person can be too unstable to live safely, too delusional to think clearly, too unpredictable to trust around strangers, and still somehow not be the system's problem until they cross a line in blood, glass, or fear. This is madness. We closed institutions, narrowed interventions, overburdened the police, flooded ERs, packed jails, and then acted like this was compassion because the buildings looked nicer on paper. Meanwhile, families get the raw end of the experiment. When someone violently enters a home looking for a young girl, all the elegant debates disappear. The parent does not get a panel discussion. The child does not get a white paper. The family gets seconds to respond, and the consequences can last forever. So no, this episode is not really about one strange man at the front door. It's about a country that keeps forcing ordinary people to absorb extraordinary danger while the experts argue over terminology over the fact. That is the problem, that's the scandal, and that's why stories like this keep happening. Thanks for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.